Today is May 7th, 2003. We're at the home of Mr. Keuneke, Arnold Keuneke, in Whitley County, Indiana. He is a veteran of World War II. Attending is myself, Janet Skank, the director of the Peabody Public Library, and Christine Will, who's our assistant administrator. What branch of service did you serve in?
I'm in the Signal Corps, attached to the 12th Air Force.
And what branch was that? Army, Navy?
Army.
Army. And what war?
World War II.
And the highest rank you attained?
Sergeant.
And where you served?
North Africa, Italy, Corsica. And then turn around.
Okay. Sir, were you drafted, or did you enlist?
I was drafted.
And where were you living when you were drafted?
Fort Wayne.
You lived over in Fort Wayne. And what year was that?
1942.
1942.
On the date?
Sure.
February the 12th, 1942.
Remember, that's
forget
quite a long time ago.
Yeah.
Do you remember can you tell us about getting it where you were, or did your notice come to your home? Or?
It came to the home.
Okay, were you expecting that notice?
Well, I wasn't surprised, no.
How about your friends? Were they also drafted?
I don't think so.
No.
Most of them weren't.
Most of them
I had a
weren't?
brother that was.
He was drafted?
Yeah.
Okay. And what branch did he go into?
He took care of the moving material from one place to the other, but it'd probably be ordnance, wouldn't it? I don't know.
I don't know. Do you remember those, when you finally, after you were drafted and they sent you away, I don't know if the Army has boot camp. Does the Army have boot camp?
No.
What did they call it?
I don't think it was called boot camp.
Well, when you first went into the service then, do you remember what that was like?
Went in Fort Benjamin Harrison,
Okay.
Indianapolis. Was there, got all my shots and a few clothes. Shipped to Camp Crowder, Missouri. Got the rest of it. Was put in as a lineman, telephone work. And from there they sent me down to a barracks, and that's the only man that ever pronounced my name right the first time. He wanted to know whether I'd be willing to go and learn radio. And I went on to Kansas City, to Midland Radio School.
Okay. How long did that take?
That took about 4 months, and she was out there 4 months. From there I went to Camp Murphy, Florida. That's north of West Palm Beach. Was there about 3 months, something like that, 2 or 3 months. Then went to Camp, get this thing.
You want to explain to us what that is?
This is my canteen cup, and it's got all the names of places I'd been. Drew Field, Camp Murphy to Drew Field, and there they organized this group, 561st Signal Warning. We were there and left there on Christmas Day in '42. Went to Fort Dix, New Jersey, and that's where this picture here was taken. Then on the January the 1st or 2nd, that I'm not sure of anymore, we boarded McAndrew out of New York Harbor.
That was a ship then? A ship that you got onto?
Yeah.
Was that one of the Liberty ships that they talked
No,
about? No.
no.
What was that?
That was a cargo and passenger ship, civilian owned. And we went zigzagged across the ocean till we got to Oran. So when we went through the straits with Spain and North Africa, the Spanish people were out with flowers and everything. The whole bay was full of flowers. And we went through there.
That's interesting.
And we went on in, got into Oran, there was a big sign that said Shell. I thought, oh no, not this. Went into the bay and landed there. It's called Mesa El Kabir. It's west of Oran. Then we had to march clear around the bay, or that inlet, to Oran. And we're in a park for a couple hours. Then they put us on a train and hauled us out of the, God only knows where, I don't know where it was. it started raining. And we had to we had to march back off the train then several miles to a hill and put up our pup tents. And they're not long enough for anything, I'll tell you. In the middle of the night they came around, we had to go down and unload our barracks bags. Truck came in. Not a one was ours, so we went back to bed. A couple of days later we were back in Oran at the airfield. And about that time, see, when I was in Florida, I put in for officers candidate school and never heard nothing of it. I forgot all about it. Well, that's all right. Here they called me out, wanted to know whether I wanted to go back and go to officers candidate school. I said, no, I'm over here now. When I go back, that's it. I want to stay there. One trip's enough. No more. So it wasn't long after that, this lieutenant, which we called the spoiled brat, and that's what he was, he took me down to a hangar, and there was a whole bunch of radar sets, the small ones. I had to open up every box, try them all out, put them back in the box, and put them in groups. There were 5 sets, and then they went out of there. Later on, I had to go out and service them things.
Is that what you said you were in the signal corps? Is that what you did in the signal corps?
That's what I did.
You worked on the radar?
Radar, right. Yeah. See, that's what, here's the big radar, the 950. I don't know, I don't think you can get it.
She might be able to. And what kind of things were those used for then? What did
Pick up ships on the Mediterranean, aircraft, anything that went up and down.
Okay. Did you monitor those or just repair those?
I just repaired it.
You just repaired them.
Yeah. Now this is one of the bigger ones. The smaller ones you could have put in a Jeep.
Oh.
They were talking about putting it in a Jeep once, but the war moved so fast in North Africa, by the time they got that idea, they forgot about it.
Okay.
So this is the first trip I made from Oran to Tibessa. And when I got there, I was supposed to go down there and string telephone wire across the minefield.
You didn't get to do that?
No. When I got to Tibessa, here the Germans had taken another little town which was about 1.5 miles, maybe 2 miles east of Tibessa. Taken it in and were talking on the telephone to our people. So when they found out they were that close, and I was on temporary duty, they flew me out of there quick, because I was not supposed to be there that close. A couple of days later, I was back up there again. Then I went to this very field where the Germans had taken over, and I was stationed there. Then I repaired these small radar sets from there.
Okay.
So one day, now we go to Tibessa, you go through Constantine and then you hit Tibessa. So it'll give you an idea where we're at.
Okay.
Now if you went out of this little town and head south, you'd run into the desert very quickly. You could see the sand blowing and everything. I turned the corner, go east. There was a farmer out there with an ox and a camel plowing, and as I turned the corner I heard a big bang, and that was the end of him. Everything. You didn't see nothing no more. He was gone.
What happened to him?
He hit a mine.
He hit a mine.
He hit a tank mine.
Oh.
It blew him up.
Interesting.
So, after all that, moved on, I went through what they called a, well, it's between 2 mountain ranges. They had gasoline stored in there, and they had to retreat through there. So they set it afire by plane to blow it up, get rid of it.
Okay. Who was retreating?
We were.
You were
American
retreating.
Okay. Yeah.
And who blew it up?
And we did.
You blew it
So
up.
they couldn't get it.
So they couldn't get it. Okay.
Yeah. From there on, we went east again after that, after they took it again. We were stationed on a hill, right above an airfield. And I repaired radar sets from there, and another fellow with me by that time. He was from outside of Boston, Pete Gabrillis. And we were together from then on out.
The whole time you were there then?
Oh, from from that
He
time
became
on.
a close friend?
Yep. But while we were there, they came, that was in the summertime, they came out with Ativan pills supposed to take care of malaria.
You hadn't had that before?
No,
No.
that was first.
Did they work?
I say they didn't work, no.
No? Okay.
He took them for a while, and I took them for a while, and I got as white as a bed sheet. You didn't feel good, you couldn't sleep, you couldn't do nothing. I quit taking them, I buried them under rocks.
Were you sick then from the pills, or do you
From
think
the,
you...
yeah, from the Ativan pills.
Oh.
After I was about 3-4 days, I was over it. He quit taking them, he got over it. Then he started taking them again. He ended up with malaria. I didn't. So you figured, I don't know.
Where'd you go from there then?
From there, well, we went to Tunis. And we were in Tunis about the time the war ended in Tunis. The fact is, the guns were still hot. The cannons and that were still hot on the beach. And their big searchlights, they mashed everything to pieces. But this lieutenant that I was talking about, we had it all figured out. They had a small radar set too. And he thought we could get it. Well, we didn't. They blew it all up. So there was nothing left. Yeah. From there on, I went all the way east then to the Mediterranean Sea on the east. And watched them take Sicily. Now that was some sight too.
Well, where were you watching from?
From North Africa.
From North Africa?
Yeah. Yeah, you could have swam across that thing if you were a good swimmer. Yeah. There's where I got hurt. And he came back to take us out because if not, we was going to be on the invasion of Italy. And he didn't want in on it, and we didn't want in on it either. So with one eye, I drove a 2.5-ton truck all the way to Algiers, clear across North Africa.
How were you hurt?
I was repairing a tire on a Dodge weapons carrier, and that rim that seals on flew up and just clipped me one.
Oh dear.
Yeah.
So you're still in Africa now?
I was still in Africa. And then on we went back to Algiers, and there we went back to the old outfit again, and we went to Corsica. And by that time, we'd already put this on trucks. They put it on. And before we went over, they were setting out away from Algiers quite a ways, and they were getting shocked off the one truck. Why, you're setting in water. Yeah, you're getting shocked. I says, you know what? That water's better than what you're drinking. That's pure, there's nothing in it. Has he got a telephone wire? Yeah, go get it. You stretch a telephone wire from that van to another one, that was the end of it. Then shortly after that, we got on a boat, on a French boat, and took us over to Corsica. Then we were in Corsica in a park, and we were there quite a while. Too far. And there's a bridge in outside of Constantine where the French and our people would fly the planes through this way, underneath that
Through the arch that's there?
Huh?
Through the arch that's in the bridge?
Yeah.
Wow.
Right through there. A lot of them didn't make it, but a lot of them did.
Were you fighting, were the French were the Allies? They were Allies during World War II.
Yeah.
And did you have did you work together a lot?
Oh yeah. Yeah.
What kind of things did you do together?
Well, since I was in radar, all I done was supply the information from radar to the Air Force, and then go on.
Okay.
And then they distributed wherever it was needed. Yeah. Yeah. Well, while we were in North Africa, we put radar into B-25s.
And a B-25 is a plane?
Yeah.
Okay.
Where is that? Well, anyhow, they took the northern bomb sight out, and we put this radar in it. We only had 3 sets of these, and they were made by RCA. We put 2 in B-25s, 1 in the B-17, and we serviced them. And every morning, about 2:30, 3 o'clock in the morning, they'd come out and hand us a sheet of paper with the numbers on that they wanted into this receiver. And we had to climb in the plane, up through the bomb bay, set these sets up so they go. And what it was, 2 radar sets were set this way, and they'd bomb there. They knew how far it was and how far it was here, and we'd set it in. And when they got so close, they turned it on, and the TV, that radar set run the whole plane and everything. Opened the bomb bay doors, dropped the bombs and everything. But the other planes back up, they had to follow suit and drop theirs within, you must say, they know how many seconds it was. Yeah, I didn't know that. Yeah.
Okay, where'd you go from there?
From there, we went to Corsica then, and was there about a day. And then they flew me over to Pisa, Italy. And, right, when you want something, you can't find it. Anyhow, I was over there a short while, a day or something like that. And then I flew back over to Corsica and was with them. Next thing you know, we all moved over to Italy. Then this Pete and I got back, and we went over through Florence to Fano, Italy. And that's where we ended up at.
Okay.
Now,
Was that the end of the war then?
yeah, that's
Okay.
where it ended. Now, San Marino is a country over there. I'd say it's about the size of Allen County. Was never in World War II. Never in it.
And that's in Italy.
In Italy, northern Italy.
And that's where you were in northern Italy then?
Yeah.
Northern Italy.
Yeah, Fano's on the east side of Italy.
Okay. And how did you get there?
How?
How did you get there? To that city that was never
Took a
in...
2.5-ton truck and drove it up there.
Well, that's where I'm getting it. Were you on military business then, or was it more of a...
Yes, had time to kill.
Just had time to do it?
And here, is the only place I ever had dinner that was on the plate, with silverware and everything.
Really? What'd you have? Do you remember?
I don't remember what we had. No.
What kind of things were you eating?
Mostly sea rations.
Mostly sea rations?
Mm-hmm.
What were those like? Can you explain those?
They weren't very good tasting, I'll tell you that. The first trip in that Jeep, you know, I told you, I think he was a captain, but I'm not sure anymore, it's too long. We got close to dinner time. Well, all we had was sea rations. How are we going to get them hot? Well, that's no problem. Opened the hood up, poked a hole in the can, set them on a manifold, and drove a couple miles. They were hot. We eat them. Went on.
So you basically lived on those sea rations.
Yeah.
But you had a good meal in that place in Italy.
Yeah. And, Hotel Bonaparte. Yeah. Yeah, I had a good meal there.
Sir, did you see any combat while you were in the service?
Yeah.
Where was that at?
Well, I was in North Africa, right on the front lines where the radar sets were. And in one place in North Africa, and I cannot tell you exactly where it was, I repaired the set, and they turned it on, working. Here he comes. I took off the Jeep. Next day I had to go back up and repair it again.
Were there any casualties in your unit?
Not that I know of. No. And another time, it was setting up on a high mountain like this radar set, had trouble. This guy said, "You want to see what war is like?" Not really. Come on, I'll show you. We looked right down on them where they were fighting.
Fighting.
I've been shot at. Yeah. And they always said, didn't have my name on it. Yeah.
Well, let's talk about, were you married then?
Sure.
You were? Were you married when you were actually drafted?
I was married, we were married in September the 25th in 41. I was drafted in 42.
Okay. What was it like right before you were drafted? I mean, what was the food like, and
Oh, we had plenty to eat.
plenty to eat? How about supplies and things like that? Was there rationing at that time?
Not then yet.
No, that
No.
came later?
That came later.
Okay.
I think I was overseas when rationing came.
Okay. Did you have any good luck charm type things?
No.
You didn't believe in that?
No.
While you were overseas, did you ever get, what kind of leave did you get? Did you get to go to get away from your?
No.
Nope, never had any kind of leave.
No leaves.
Well, we know you took a truck somewhere.
Yeah, we did that on the sly.
Oh.
Everything you do, you got to do a little on the sly.
Okay, so from the time you went in 41 until the end of the war, you never got any kind of leave at all?
And after the war ended, well, let's get something else here. We had a radar set in the B-25 that they claimed wasn't working. So I had to look at it. We looked at it several times, couldn't find a thing wrong with it. Finally, one of them says, "Why don't you just go along?" Okay. But they were going to flour bomb. That's a bomb that's made out of flour. And there was a little island, about 50 feet wide, maybe 100 and some feet long. That's where they practiced on. So we went out and set the thing up, and he hit it right on the mark. And as he come around like that, he said to me, he said, "See that school of fish down there?" He says, "Yeah, leave them there." Zoom! He just splattered water all over. With the B-25. And on the way home then, he said, "You see that hedge apple fence down there? Let's go down and trim it." Down he went with a prop, trimmed that hedge apple fence.
He was a pretty good pilot.
He was. It scares you. You ain't looking for it.
Well, it looks like you kept plenty of photographs.
Yep.
Any in particular that you like to? I know you showed us some. Are there others that you like to show us?
Well, I was trying to find the one. Maybe I was looking there. Oh, here they are. This is in Corsica. See them two little kids?
Uh-huh.
Every morning I'd give them a lifesaver. And they would not eat it, a whole roll of lifesaver, because I didn't like them. They'd take them home, Mom cooked and baked with it. And when I knew I wasn't going to be there, I gave them all I had, because I knew I was going to get plenty more of them.
What kind of things would they cook and bake with lifesavers?
Well, they're sugar.
Oh, okay.
They didn't have no sugar. See? I don't think you can get it, can you?
Got it.
Well, anyhow, I sent them, gave them to all them. They went home, here comes Mom and Dad and the kids, begging me to take them with them, with tears in their eyes.
Mm-hmm.
I said, "There's no way. I don't even know when I'm going to get home myself, if I ever get to go home."
And then that was Corsica.
That was in Corsica.
Did you get to, besides that family, did you get to interact with any of the other local?
Oh, yeah, little
people?
Yeah, see, that's how they done the laundry, down the river bottom.
And how did they treat your soldiers that were over there?
Wonderful.
Okay.
Now, I'll tell you something else. When they first went into Italy, American cigarettes, a carton of cigarettes would bring $1,000.
That's a lot of money back in the 40s.
Yes, sir.
Did you get to sample any of the other Italian food besides that time that you
No.
you were at that restaurant? No, you still stuck to those sea rations.
Well, we did. When war ended, I was on temporary duty.
What does that mean, you were on temporary duty?
I worked for everybody else but our own outfit.
Okay. So they kind of farmed you out.
Farmed us out.
Okay.
That's what they done.
Okay. And do you remember where you were when you found out the war had ended?
I was in Fano, Italy.
And how did you find out?
When they came around and announced it, just about 3, 4 o'clock in the afternoon, that's when we found it out. Well, I mean, that's when Roosevelt died. Let's put it that way.
Okay.
And before that, you never heard no peace talks. But the next day, we started hearing peace talks. And before he was buried, when Roosevelt was buried, I knew the day and the hour the war was going to be over. And the day and the hour the war was on, I started for home. But I was put in a camp where they collected them all together, put them on boats. I was there about a month.
So you were in Italy a month before, after the war?
After the war.
Before they sent you home?
Yeah.
And where'd you go, on your way, how'd you get back? You were on a
After
boat?
we got to that camp, they loaded a whole convoy out, and we were still sitting there. So they brought this Liberty ship in, and we went on the Liberty ship, and they were already gone a whole day. So we took off. And when we got somewhere close to the Azores, the captain hollered out over the megaphone there with loudspeaker saying, "You want us to fall in line with them, or you want to go on?" Everybody hollered, "Go on." So we were the first unescorted ship across the Atlantic after World War II.
And where did the ship go into?
Well, when we got a day out of New York Harbor, they wanted to come in and they wouldn't let us in. So they sent us down to Newport News, Virginia. And that's where we landed at.
And then once you landed, did you have to, you didn't get to go right back to Fort Wayne then?
No. From there on we went to a camp outside of Newport News. And I never did find out where that was at. But there we really ate.
You ate good there?
Yeah. And we called out, was ready to go on a train. We got a pint of ice cream and away we went. So we got on the train and headed for Indiana, and we got into Richmond. There we had to transfer the train. A bunch of them got off, and they had to find their way down there. Now, what's the name of the camp in southern Indiana that's by Columbus? Well, anyhow, that's where we went. That's where I got out at then.
And that's where you were discharged from?
That's where I was discharged from, too. But I came home for a month. Then we went to Miami, Florida. I drove down with my car, and we spent time down there. Then went to Orlando, Florida, and I was stationed there for a while, anticipating we would be shipped over anyhow. See, when we were in Florence, in Fano rather, they came out after World War II and wanted the two of us to go over to Japan. No, we've seen enough.
And they gave you a choice on that, or?
Well, I don't know what this lieutenant done.
Okay.
He pulled it off. I met him down in Miami, Florida then. Yeah.
What did you do after the war was over then? What did you get into?
I was electrician at Wayne Knitting Mills. Same thing I left.
Did any of the training or experience during the war, did they help you with that? No?
No.
Had nothing to do with it?
No.
Okay.
I wouldn't even repair my own radio set nor my own TV. I won't do it.
So you were an electrician before you actually went into the war?
Yeah.
So you got your job back. Did you get that right away?
Right away. Yeah.
Okay. Did you join any of the veterans organizations?
No.
Weren't interested in anything like that?
Yeah, what spoiled it was the American Legion had a convention in Indianapolis. That was shortly after I was back. And they threw mattresses and everything out of the upstairs window. I says, no, that's not for me. No, I never joined any of them.
Okay. You said that you made a very close friend while you were there. You said his name was,
Pete Gavrilis.
Pete. Did you keep in contact with him after the war?
Yeah.
Okay. And where is he still with us? Is he still alive?
No, he died.
He
He died from malaria.
He actually died from the malaria.
Mm-hmm.
How long after the war was that then?
About 5, 6 years.
5 or 6 years. And where was he from?
I'm around Boston, Massachusetts.
Around Boston,
West of
Massachusetts.
Boston. Yeah. He always wanted me to come up and see him. I said, well, you just tell me when and I'll be there. And he wouldn't tell me. I guess he didn't want me to see him that bad off.
That's sick.
And I can't blame him in a way, no. That yours?
Yeah. Turn that over.
When we were stationed in Oran a while, I got to go, when we marched through it rather, we went by what I'd call a hardware store. And here was a brand spanking new McCormick Deering binder sitting in the window. It was a long window, all ready to go. That's the only one I ever seen. Now later on, there's a thrash machine. Yeah. That's the only thrash machine. Now, the grain fell out on the ground, and they picked it up in baskets and buckets and put it on their head and carried it away. In the back, the straw went out. Two of them would throw it up part way and two more higher up. That's how they got a stack.
And where was this again?
North Africa.
In North Africa.
Yeah. Did you get it?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. I don't see where war ever paid anybody anything. Here's a Catholic church in Italy, in Pisa, Italy. The back end was all bound to pieces, but the front end was all right. Yeah. These are 500-pound bombs. Now, in the bomb bay they were put on both sides, and we had to climb up through there to put them in. The bombs were in there already. If you'd have tripped one of them, that'd been it.
So you had to, you actually loaded bombs? In
I didn't load bombs.
Oh, somebody else.
They were already loaded, but when we had to go in and set this radar set up, we had to climb up between them on one end of it.
Okay.
But if we'd have tripped that wire, that'd been it.
It was dangerous work.
Yeah, wasn't funny. So you pay attention. See what else we got here. Well, this don't amount to much. That's what a camp looks like when you take the tent down and leave everything there first. And there's how we went into Italy. They drove the trucks off.
Well, that's a ship.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's the way it goes.
Looks like you did some swimming up there.
Not me, I swim like a rock. That should be in here. Better view of it. Yeah. This is from high up, Algiers, overlooking the harbor. Something else. I've seen Algiers lit up so bright with gunfire and these flares that you could have read a newspaper. Yeah.
Where were you when all that was going on?
On the outer edge of Algiers.
On the outer edge of Algiers.
Yeah.
Did you ever worry that they just might miss and get you?
Well, when we left from here, they told us we'd only be over there 6 months. That's the very most. Well, 6 months came and went, and nothing. Then they initiated what they called the point system, which didn't mean nothing either, because I had enough points to bring 2 of us home, and they couldn't get home. So you didn't worry about it anymore. Now the reason we didn't worry, because when Roosevelt was in yet, he made the remark before I was in the service. We got too many men in here. There was 2 men for every woman in this country by the census. We got to get rid of some of them. And he gathered all the trash. I'm talking about cars, fence wire. You didn't see no fences in no corners of fields like you used to see. He gave them to Japan. And all the farmers around Preble, Indiana and around Van Wert, Ohio said we're going to get them back in cannonballs, and we did. Yeah. So we didn't worry about it. We weren't going to get home anyhow, so why worry about it? Yeah. But these pictures, thanks to her sending the developer over, that's how we got them. That's all the bigger they are. Now while we were at, and see if I can find that picture.
So how did that work? We ought to mention too that your wife is sitting here. You want to tell us what your wife's name is?
Louise Keuneke.
Okay.
Louise Keuneke.
And you said you took pictures.
Yeah.
And did you send like the rolls of film back?
Oh no, that's what I was trying to get. When we were stationed with an airfield, B-25, where we put these radars in, they developed their own reconnaissance picture. And after the roll of film was down so far, they wouldn't use it anymore. And that's what we got. So one night we developed, the next night we filled the backing of the old rolls, you know, they had paper backing on them. Fill them, cut them with a razor blade, put them in there, you have film again.
Oh. So your wife would send you the developer?
Yep. And his wife sent developer, well, his girlfriend sent developer too.
So you developed your own film?
Developed your own film, and then we printed these little pictures.
Interesting. Had to be very resourceful.
Well, what else are you going to do? This is how they decorated their planes up, the B-25s. Usually their wives' pictures were painted on them. But this is represent how many missions he flew in that plane.
See, he was a busy person.
He was. Yeah. So that just about tells it.
Okay. Well, Mr. Keuneke, we appreciate you taking the time to show us these things.
Now here's the picture that was taken at Fort Dix, New Jersey before we went over. Here's that lieutenant we call the spoiled brat. This guy's from Texas. Yeah, he's from Texas. And here I am. Carried a Thompson submachine gun all the way through this thing practically.
You carried it through the war?
Almost through the whole war, not quite. They finally took it away and gave us a carbine, and they weren't safe either.
Why did they do that? Why did they switch the guns on you? Now, did that unit then stay together during the war?
They pretty well stayed together, yeah, till the tail end. After the war was over, then they split them up, went different places. Yeah.
Mr. Keuneke?
I had this done. Give me one of these. I hope this is what I want. Yeah, see, this is the way they come from Fort Dix, and they will fade if the light hits them too long. As you can see, this is already doing it. See? Yeah. So right away after I got back, I took this into this know, they do all these big pictures.
Mm-hmm. You can tell that's faded some.
Oh, yeah. Now, there's probably the names of all of the, on that picture.
That's a smart idea.
But this was before the war, before we got back, see? They moved, so you couldn't find them no more. And you're in something like that if you wanna. I know a lot of them, they went over there just for the war. I did not. I went over there, I wanted to see. I don't know where this picture was taken. I don't remember where I got it from.
That's a lot in it, doesn't it?
Yes, betcha.
Says the South Place host. A similar picture of the U.S. Army maneuvers, and it's supposed to be in the southern United States.
Yeah, it probably was. Got it? There is something else. When we went to school, we learned geography. I went over there, I never seen anything like the geography was. Why don't our government tell the truth? These I got overseas, I remember these. But see, they're getting frail. Well, let's get one at a time then, if that's the way you want to be. Tibessa, entrance to Tibessa.
And that's in North Africa.
Mm-hmm. Yep. See where this is from. Yeah, there's another picture of Tibessa. That's why I've seen something I wonder, I've got it.
Is there anything else?
That's pretty well does it.
I'd like to thank you then for taking your time and sharing this with us. It's very valuable, and it will be used by very many people.
Yeah.